Alex Marlow here, editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and host of Breitbart News Daily on Sirius XM 125 with Florida Senator Rick Scott. Senator, so great to be on.
It's great to be here.
It's really great to speak with you. We're at the Student Action Summit here in Tampa, your home state. You're speaking to a younger group. You're about to deliver a major address right now. What do you hope to convey to a younger crowd of conservatives?
I think it's how important to be involved. If you think about whether we're talking about the cancel culture or making sure we win elections, or just the radical things that Democrats are doing, defunding the police, open borders, all these things, you got to get active. Run for office, help people run for office. You can clearly make a difference. I mean, if you look at these races, so many races are won by just a few votes, and part of it is vote, help people win, help people run, help create the energy, make the phone calls, knock on doors if you don't want to run, do all those things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's got to be the message right now. Let's talk about Florida. Florida has been open for a long time, and people are loving it. I've got family members who are moving down here. I have editors who are dying to move down here. These conventions keep popping up in Florida, Texas too a little bit, but a lot of Florida. And yet you're seeing other states go back under lockdown, back under mask mandate. What's your reaction as someone who represents Florida seeing that happen?
Well, first off, when I ran in 2010, the state had been losing population. Home prices had dropped in half. In the 4 years before I got elected, the state had lost 800,000 jobs. So it's exciting to see what's happening now. We're open for business. Our schools are open. We're adding jobs. When I was governor, we added 1.7 million jobs. We do what we should at the federal level. I paid down a third of the state debt, cut taxes and fees 100 times. That's why people are continuing to come here. They want freedom. They know it's your money. You don't need the government to tell you how to run your life. I loved my mom. She was a wonderful person. I hate her telling me what to do. Okay, that's the way I think about the government. We don't need the government dictating everything to us. We're pretty smart. We can figure these things out.
And what's scary to me is how many people do seem to want to get told what to do these days. I think but they're not here. I think they're elsewhere. One of the biggest issues...
Hopefully it's not true, right?
Yeah, I hope it's not true, but sadly, I'm afraid it is. One of the biggest issues to all Americans, Floridians in particular, is what's happening in Cuba. What is the Biden policy on Cuba? I don't really know what it is. It seems like a hybrid of Trump's policy plus him winging it. I don't know. Maybe he's holding out on us and he's going to tell us eventually. What do you see his policy, and what is the key to freedom for Cubans who are living under communism right now?
I think Biden's policy for everything is do nothing. I mean, there's a good hashtag out there, Donde está Joe? Where's Joe? He's nowhere. I mean, Joe's nowhere. So here's what we got to do. Number one, we got to get the internet back on.
Yes.
So we're working really hard to figure out how do we get the internet back to the people of Cuba. The Cuban government is scared to death of their people. If we can get the internet back on, the Cuban people are going to make sure this happens. That's number one. Number two.
But can I follow up on that first? How do we do that? How do we get the internet back on?
I'm working with a lot of people that understand technology better than I do, and so I'm going to help. I'm going to do everything I can to help figure that out. And if the government won't do it, if Joe Biden won't do it, and then I'm going to make sure the private sector does it. We're going to figure this out. That's number one. Number two is Joe Biden ought to be a world leader. Show the heck up. He wants to be in part of all these world clubs. He thinks getting together with Merkel and Johnson and Macron is so great. Well, then call him up and say it's time for us all to show up and call the dictatorship in Cuba out for what it is. It's committing genocide against its citizens. It's beating up peaceful protesters. They're arresting people. The dissidents, like the ladies in white, they're arrested. We don't know where they are.
Right.
And then number three is all of us have to talk about it. We got to get the pictures out. We got to show them. When I did a press conference on Tuesday, as part of the chair of the NRSC and part of the leadership team, I showed pictures. I showed pictures of protesters getting beat up and arrested by the police. We got to let people know exactly what they're doing. This is not a nice place where we go have a beer.
Right.
This is a brutal government that is doing exactly what the Democrats are trying to do in this country. Socialism. It doesn't work. I mean, socialism always ends up with shortages. Food, water, medicine, electricity. That's exactly what's happening.
This is so clear to me and our audience. Why isn't it so clear to Democrats and at this time? And why are there so many people divided on this one? This seems like a no-brainer to me.
I think Americans agree with us. I think the media is partnered with the Democrat Party now. I think a lot of people in the media are, they're all in for this socialism stuff because it sounds nice, right?
Yeah,
it sounds really good. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's never worked. It's never worked anyway. So what we have to do is we have to stand up and speak the truth. The truth is socialism is horrible for you and your family.
Let's talk about the business of the Senate right now. First thing.
It's all bad.
I had a feeling you're going to say that.
There's nothing good happening in the Senate.
That is my fear. You would say that too. But let's talk about some of the specifics. Infrastructure. It looks like you guys are going to be voting on infrastructure. You don't know what you're going to be voting on, but Chuck Schumer said he's going to bring something.
Sounds like Obamacare, right?
It's unbelievable.
We're going to vote on it, and then we'll figure out what's in it.
First of all, what's your reaction to that strategy? Why would he be doing that? And second of all, is that a bad sign? Is that maybe a sign that he doesn't really think he can get anything done?
You know, I think all of us would like to do something on infrastructure. I spent $85 billion on roads, bridges, airports, and seaports in my 8 years as governor. I believe in that. But you got to pay for it. And we can't raise our debt. I paid off a 30% debt. I cut taxes when I did it. What they're going to do is they just want to use it as a sweetener to raise your taxes. And they're raising taxes on everybody. Don't believe any of this stuff. They're just raising it on the rich. The rich don't make enough money. So they're raising it on everybody. So I mean, I think what they're he's just trying to force something, cram something down everybody's throat. I'm going to continue to fight it. It's bad for people. We're seeing unbelievable inflation. Look at gas prices up $1 a gallon. That's an unbelievable regressive tax. It hurts our poorest families. Inflation impacts our poorest families and people on fixed income. And the Democrats don't care about these people. They act like they do. They say they do. But if you look at their actions, it's horrible. So I hope he doesn't have the votes. I'm going to do everything I can to educate people. And make sure people know to get involved, and hopefully they won't have the votes.
Are you starting to hear from your constituents about inflation? Because we've been tracking it very closely at Breitbart. The numbers are just frightening.
Oh, see, I think if you look at polls, over 80% of Americans already tighten their belts. They're worried about it. It's getting worse. You look at the PPI was up 7%, CPI was up over 5%. That means that everything you buy costs more money. Now, you better hope your wages go up faster than this. They never do.
But they're not. Yeah, they're not.
I watch, I grew up in a very poor family. My mom was taking in ironing, and she would send either my older brother or me to the grocery store, there are 5 kids, to say, here's how much you have, but you got to check prices because they keep changing every day.
Yeah.
So I could have won the prices right back when I was a kid, because I knew the price of everything.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up, maybe you have some good news here. So HR1 and S1, we know in spirit it's horrible, but it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, or maybe I'm being too naive. What's the state of play?
They're going to keep trying to get it passed. I mean, they're not giving up. I mean, you should think about it this way. So if apply it to somebody that's in high school, and so they're going to have a student council president, but they're going to allow people that go to another school to vote. Right? I mean, not just in your school. You shouldn't limit that. You shouldn't limit that, should you? I mean, so that's what they want to do. They want to do that. On top of that, they want to say, well, we're just going to put ballot boxes here, and anybody can make a ballot, and you can make as many as you want, and we're just put them in there. We don't really care. That's what they want to do. Then they want to say, oh, so you can go find other people's ballots, go through which ones, and say, well, he's not voting for the person I want, so I'll get rid of that one. I'll just put these in. That's what they want to do. And then on top of that, they want to take money from the school and have people run attack ads. That's what they want to do. So right now it's dead. I think they're gonna keep trying. This is the Democrats don't want free and fair elections. They want elections only they win.
One of the biggest items in the news right now is a bombshell from yesterday, a federal judge overturning DACA. Do you have a reaction to that? And what's the state of the immigration debate right now?
Well, I mean, there's no debate because the Democrats don't want to do anything. They want to have a campaign issue, but they don't want to do anything. Look, everything starts with you have to have a secure border. Okay? If you have a secure border, you can actually have a real conversation about how you fix things. I think all of us would say that if you came here, you didn't come here on your own, you came here as a kid, you came and you lived the dream of this country, you're a productive American citizen, there ought to be a way for you to stay here. I think most people agree with that. Now you can argue about how you should do it, but you can't do any of these things without a secure border. So the Democrats don't want to do this, they just want to have a campaign issue. I've had twice I took the floor for temporary protective status when somebody comes, when they're here, when there's a hurricane. I had every Republican sign off on a way to fix it. Democrats blocked it both times because they don't want to fix it. They want to have a fight about it to try to win elections, but they don't want to fix it.
Looks like the Biden administration is planning to work with Facebook to censor things, misinformation. We know what that means. That means trying to deboost conservative content the Bidens don't like, and boost content that is establishment media content and things that they do like. What can be done about this?
I think we have a First Amendment. And we ought to use the First Amendment to say
Matt, can we double check that? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure about that one.
Here's what's frustrating. How can the government be deciding what you and I see?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're doing.
And they're saying it openly. It's not even behind. Yeah. They're not. It's not even a conspiracy. They're saying it to our face.
Of course we can do that. That's what they're acting like. So we got to be very vocal about this. I mean, this is pretty scary. We've allowed these social media companies to become very powerful. and they're censoring us. Now, at the same time, it's okay for the Ayatollah of Iran to say, death to America and wants to kill all the Jews. That's okay. They can be on Twitter, or Maduro down, who's committed genocide against his people. He can be on, but gosh, having a conservative voice that says that we believe in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. I don't know about that. So, and by the way, you're smart. You as an individual can figure out anything with regard to COVID. There is so much information out there. And you know what? My mom had 11th grade education. My dad had a 6th grade education, my adopted dad. You know what? They weren't dumb. They didn't have a big education. They figured things out. We need to let the public make these choices, not social media, not the Biden administration.
Last one for today. Again, Senator Rick Scott from Florida, my guest. Let me ask you to evaluate Biden's unity agenda. He announced it was a time for healing. We're all going to be unified. You're not exactly a right-wing bomb thrower, so I assume he's reaching out to you on a regular basis, and you guys are finding a lot of common ground.
I don't think. Well, first off, he's never called me. All right, he won't call me. And now he is becoming the most liberal president you can imagine.
He certainly is.
Oh, he is. I mean, if you look at defund the police, if you look at the highest tax raises ever, the regulatory reform, I mean, he wants to do. I mean, he's killing this economy. Look at what's happening to our economy.
Certainly.
I mean, he's killing it.
Certainly. And no reach out to any conservatives appeals.
No. He's not going to reach out to me. I don't think he even knows who I am.
That's unbelievable.